Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolfe Pit with another episode of... Wait a minute, this is not going to be another episode of What Are We Eating? I'm actually going to cook something today. Many years ago, before I started doing YouTube videos, I had several 18-inch Weber Smoky Mountains, also known as WSMs. I use the WSMs to cook food for my family and friends, catering functions, and barbecue competitions. And still to this day, in my opinion, they're the best bang for your buck charcoal smoker on the market. And once you learn how to use them, only after a couple cooks, they're truly a set it and forget it smoker. But over the years, and through a divorce, I parted ways with my WSMs, and they've been replaced with other grills and smokers. But I still miss my Webers. I recently parted ways with my grill dome and went back to old school and bought a new Weber Performer, which I also cooked on for many years. Well, actually, I cooked on a lot of Webers for many years. Well, only after a couple cooks on this one, I fell back in love with the quality of food the Webers produce and the fun they are to cook on. So when I saw my local Walmart had 14-inch Weber Smoky Mountains on sale for $99 each, I had to get them back in my life, and I picked up 2 of them. I used to be able to get a hell of a lot of food on the 18-inch Weber Smoky Mountains, so I thought I'd be able to get a good amount of food on these. But once I got it home, I realized it's really small, but it'll still serve its purpose. So I figured it'd be fun to tinker around with a smaller version. I've had it now for a couple months, and I've only cooked on it once to cook chicken. Otherwise, it's just sat in the rain, getting dirty. So it's time to get it loaded up and get it cooking again. Here I have a 6.5 pound bone-in Boston butt that I'm going to season with some barbecue rub that a friend sent me. I can't remember the last time I made pulled pork without Wolfe rub. I hope my family forgives me. I don't like to use mustard or any other kind of binder. But if you do, that's perfectly fine. There's no right or wrong way. You do it your way, the way you like it, because you're going to be the one that's eating it when it's done. Once it's rubbed on all sides, I like to place it in the fridge for an hour or overnight, or you can simply put it on the smoker right away. I load up and light my WSM a little bit different than most people because it's easier for me and it's the way I like to do it. So you do what works for you. This part is pretty standard. You load the charcoal ring all the way to the top with your choice of briquettes or lump. Today I'm just using Kingsford Blue. Today I'm adding 4 partially lit briquettes right in the center, but I also use a hose torch, but I was out of propane today. That's why I'm adding the lit coals. The process with the hose torch is slightly different, so I'll show that process in a video soon. Then add the smoke wood, and today I'm using cherry wood. Once you've added your smoke wood, add the midsection. Then the water pan. And I wasn't really prepared, and I would usually either have sand or a fire brick in the water pan. But I had neither on hand and balled up some foil and placed the foil balls in the bowl, and then placed foil over the balls and the bowl for easy cleanup. This does 2 things. It creates a baffle between the heat and the meat, and it helps create radiant heat, which helps us maintain our temperatures. It's a water pan by design, but the water serves no purpose in this smoker. Once it's loaded up with meat, there's plenty of humidity in there. And if you were to use water on a cook like this, you'd probably be refilling the pan every hour or so. Finally, add the top grate and your pork. Now for the old great debate, fat side up or fat side down? Pork shoulders for me, fat side down. The reason I like cooking them fat side down is my rubs have sugar in them, and after 12 to 16 hours, the sugar caramelizes and glues itself and the meat to the grate. Then when the meat's done, all that beautiful bark, it's stuck on the grate, and it rips the meat all apart as you're trying to remove the butt from the grill. If you're doing it fat side down and it sticks, who cares? Yes, I am. I'm adding the meat before the smoker comes up to temperature. This is what works for me and how I've always done it on the WSM. This way, I only have to bring it up to my target temperature range one time, and make one vent adjustment for the whole cook. This way, you don't have to worry about overshooting your target temperature by opening the smoker and adding your meat once it's up to temperature. If you let the Smoky Mountain do its thing and you're not adjusting the vents and opening and closing the lid, it will hold temperatures rock solid. Again, this is how I like to do it. That doesn't mean it's the right way or the only way. There's definitely other ways to skin a cat. I'm just showing you one of them. I like to measure the temperature at the lid. Some people like to do it at the grate level. Either way is fine. But one thing I would suggest, pick one or the other. Don't measure it at both places. There's roughly a 15-degree difference between the top vent and the lid vent. And as far as thermometers go, you can use almost any kind you like, as long as they're not too long and they're touching the meat. I'll leave a link in the description box to the one that I'm using today. I've been using this one for a couple years now and I'm actually pretty happy with it. I used the Maverick ET73s for years, and they used to be really good, but the last few I had didn't even last 6 months. Now always leave the top vent 100% open for the entire cook. Now leave all 3 bottom vents open 100% until the dome temperature reaches 175 degrees. Once the temperature gets up to 175 degrees, shut the bottom 3 vents down 75% and do not touch them again for the entire cook. If your temperature initially drops a little bit, that's okay. Just leave it alone, it'll gradually crawl back up. If you follow these simple steps, within 30 minutes, your temperatures are going to settle between 250 and 275 degrees, which is what you want. You want to shoot for a temperature range. You do not want to shoot for an exact temperature, or you're going to go insane. After right at 8 hours, our mini WSM was holding steady temperatures between 250 and 275 degrees, and our butt was at 175 degrees. I checked the charcoal and it was definitely low, so I added about 20 more briquettes. That's something I very rarely had to do on the 18-inch WSM. They'd go 12 to 16 hours, depending on the weather. But, to be fair to the 14-inch WSM, it was pretty windy during this cook. After 4 more hours, for a total of 12 hours, our pork is done. Bob Ross painted happy trees, but the WSM paints happy pork. Is that beautiful or what? Now I'm going to wrap it in foil and let it rest for at least an hour. Now our pork ended up resting for a little over 2 hours and it's still piping hot. There's been a whole lot of comments about my hands lately, looking awkward and my fingers not bending. And I've tried explaining in the comments that my hands are partially paralyzed, which obviously makes gripping things very difficult, which is very evident in this video. It even makes pulling pork difficult. It actually makes cooking in general really difficult, which is the main reason I don't do that many cooking videos anymore, and I do the what are we eating videos, because they're a lot less hands-on. Some days are better than others, but today, my hands didn't want to cooperate at all. The bone came out nice and clean, and that'll be a nice treat for my puppy Bella. So my daughter's going to jump in here in a minute and finish pulling the pork. Because at the rate I'm pulling it, we're going to starve to death, and y'all are going to fall asleep. Once it's all pulled, add some more rub. Then give it a good mix. At this point, can y'all tell there's some missing? My daughter and I take that quality assurance testing very seriously. Maybe too seriously. Maybe to the point we're full before dinner. Nah, who am I kidding? And here's my plate, and you can serve it up any way you like. I'm eating low carb, and that's why there's no bread. And that's low carb coleslaw and low carb barbecue sauce. Even though there is a little bit of sugar in the rub. The mini WSM performed as expected. Perfect. I'm really glad I'm starting to get some Webers back in my life at the Wolfe Pit. In my opinion, even at full retail price, you can't get a better charcoal smoker than the Weber Smoky Mountain. far as functionality, durability, and the quality of the product that comes off of it, the barbecue. It sure sounds like I'm sucking up to Weber, doesn't it? But I'm not. But maybe they'll see this video and send me a Summit series. If you'd like to help support the Wolfe Pit, please consider being a patron. You can pledge as little as $1 a month. That's only $12 for the whole year. Or you can pledge more. That's up to you. Either way, every little bit's appreciated and helps me produce more high-quality videos more often for you, the people. Thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.